The object of this lesson is to create what we call imperfect squares. Squares that don't have a root that is a whole number. If you can remember on some of our early lessons, we were creating squares that looked like this, 2 by 2. And so the square has 4 inside it, and the length of the root is 2. That means that this one is a perfect square because you got a whole number. But not all of our squares are going to be perfect squares. When I look over here on my left, I can see I have 7 little tiny squares. And I'm going to see if I can rearrange them into a normal square just by kind of dragging them across here. Now there's another 4 by 4 square, but you can see that I still have 3 that are left over. So I can't really get them into this square because there's just not, it won't come out even if I do that. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to cut these into smaller pieces and try to lay them across in such a way that we can see that. Normally in a Word document of some kind, you can actually click on an item and grab this lower corner and maybe resize the square that you have like that. So I can click and resize it. There we go. Now what I want to do instead of doing that is I actually want to try to cut these up in such a way that you can see me lay them across these two sides just like you did on the Word document. So I'm going to cut this in half and cut this one in half. That's going to give me 4 halves. And I'm going to take these halves and I'm going to sketch them down under here. So right now I have a length of the side that's worth 2. I like to write it as decimals because I think it's easier for me to keep up with. So I'm going to start with it like $2. I know this is a half right here. And that means that's worth about 50 cents if it's a half. Now I've used this square and I've used this square already. So I'm going to come into this last square and I need a little piece that goes right there. So I'm just going to cut a little bit off the edge of it here and kind of sketch that in here. And now I have less than a whole square that I'm going to cut into 4 pieces. If it were a whole square and I cut a hole into 4 pieces, then each of those would be worth 25. 25 plus 25 plus 25 gets me to that hole. But I know these are less than that. So I'm just going to make kind of little tiny pieces here. Kind of a little sketch here. And I think those are worth less than 25. Not sure exactly how much, but I'm going to go ahead and call it, say, 20 instead of 25. That means when I add that onto here, and it's the same in every direction since it's a square, that would mean that the root of my square, the root which is on the bottom, is worth all of this put together, are 2.70, approximately. The S sign is your approximately. So I'm estimating now that the square root of 7 is approximately 2.70.